What's up guys, and welcome to my Evanescia build guide. In this video I'm taking you over everything you do need to know in order to understand and build her, including a kit overview, Lightcone recommendations, Relic Stats and planar ornament recommendations, and then what you want to run for main stat and substat goals.
Stuck grinding in Honkai style? Need stellar jades fast? We've got you covered. Head over to U7 Buy, your ultimate gaming hub for safe, fast, and cheap in-game top-ups. Whether it's Star Rail or your other favorite games, U7 delivers instantly and players love it. Check out their Trustpilot reviews, they're actually top ranked. On the Honkai Star Rail direct top-up page, you can recharge your account in seconds. For example, 8080 Honorific shards cost $99.99 in the official store, but on U7 Buy, you can see here it's way cheaper. Just pick your server, enter UID, pay securely, and boom, your account is instantly loaded. Want extra savings? Use code PRETSR at checkout for 5% off, perfect for last minute pulls, battle passes, or surprising a friend. And here's a bonus. If you spend $80 a month on U7 Buy, you can grab the Honkai Star Rail Express Pass for only 1 cent, which is nearly free. Click on the link in my description, recharge fast, save more, and keep blazing those trails.
Evanescia's basic attack does physical damage based off her attack to a designated enemy. Her skill deals physical damage at a higher multiplier to a primary target, and physical damage to a lesser multiplier of Evanescia's attack to adjusted targets, and also gains 10 punchline. Her ultimate will deal physical damage based off her attack to all enemies, and then 5 instances of damage. Each instance of damage doing physical damage equal to 120% of her attack to a random enemy target. For talent, Evanescia gains elation equal to 20% of her crit damage. Whenever Evanescia gains energy, she simultaneously gains an amount of certified banger, and also vice versa, of gaining certified banger will give her an equal amount of energy. The certified banger gained through this method in a single instance cannot exceed 100. Accumulating 240 energy will make her consume the 240 amount, and Master Fox will launch a follow-up attack doing physical damage based off Evanescia's attack to all enemies and regenerating 10 energy for Evanescia, with each instance of energy regeneration gaining up to an accumulated total of 240 energy. When Evanescia possesses certified banger, her skill will deal physical elation damage equal to 16% to the attack target. Ultimate will deal physical elation damage equal to 24% to all enemies, and physical elation damage equal to 28% to the enemy targets randomly attacked by the ultimate. When ultimate deals elation damage, it takes into account certified banger at least equal to max energy. Master Fox follow-up attack will also do physical elation damage equal to 25% of its attack to all enemies. Her technique attacks all enemies within range. Entering combat will deal physical damage equal to 100% of Evanescia's attack to all enemies and gains 20 points of certified banger. Her elation skill deals physical elation damage equal to 110% to all enemies and additionally gains 5 points of certified banger. For her traces, her A2 will increase Evanescia's crit rate by 30%. When there are 3 or more /2/1 enemy targets on the field, her ultimate bounce count will be increased by 1/2/4. When a teammate with an elation skill participant ID lower than Evanescia gains certified banger, Evanescia will convert 50% of it to her own certified banger. Her A4, when Master Fox uses an attack, it will additionally inflict vulnerability on the target, increasing the damage they take by 12% for 3 turns. And her A6, when a teammate's certified banger ends, Evanescia will convert 50% of it to her own certified banger. For Islands, her E1 increases her all-type res ped by 20%. Master Fox using an attack will trigger Evanescia's elation skill 1 additional time, and elation skill grants this unit 10 additional certified banger points. Her E2 increases her crit damage by 36%, triggering her trace, which is just her A2 or A6, and gaining certified banger will make her additionally gain certified banger equal to a 50%/100% of certified banger gained at this time. Her E4 will make Evanescia's damage dealt ignore 15% of the enemy's defense. Her E6 extends the duration of certified banger for 1 turn. Elation damage dealt by Evanescia merrymake by 15%. Every 100 points of certified banger possessed will additionally merrymake by 2%, with a max of 1,000 points of certified banger taken into account. The first time Evanescia uses ultimate upon entering battle, Evanescia will regenerate 120 energy, and the effect can trigger 1 time for every 4 ultimates used. For her best Lightcones, of course her best one is going to be her signature, providing 60% crit damage for the wear and also a 10% increase in energy regen. Having max energy greater than 120 for every 10 points of max energy that exceeds the amount, the energy regen you gain will further be increased by 0.3%, and up to a maximum of 360 points of excess energy can be taken into account. Using an elation skill will increase the damage received by enemy targets by 15% for 2 turns, and the effects of the same type cannot stack. This Lightcone provides you so many things that is good for Evanescia. 60% crit damage is fantastic because now she can convert even more crit damage to elation, which is one of the biggest parts of her kit. You build a lot of crit damage on her, and this Lightcone gives you the most you could possibly get, and she'll be able to convert that to elation for a big damage increase. Also, Evanescia loves energy regen because that's her whole playstyle of spamming ult, so she wants to gain as much ultimate energy as possible, so this is also very good. And her ultimate requirement is very high, fully able to get access to this, and it provides a total of 10.8% additional energy regen, so this Lightcone is giving you a total of 20 20.8% energy regen, which is very good to cycle her ultimate. And you also get a bit of extra vulnerability, which is one of the few ways to increase elation damage, so that extra bit at the very end is nice, which makes this far and none the best option you can possibly use. The Battle Pass Lightcone is also very good for Evanescia with a 12% increase to crit rate, and using an elation skill will increase the wearer's elation by 12%, stacking up to 2 times. At S5, both values are 20%. Unfortunately, it doesn't provide any crit damage, which is going to be very important for Evanescia, but the crazy thing is her traces give crit rate, then you account for the 5% base crit rate, this giving crit rate, and her actual bonus trace giving crit rate. That's like 73% crit rate on its own. You will barely really need any rolls, especially more so if you have like Yaoguang Lightcone on the team. So you could really just hard toggle crit damage. That's one of the best parts about this, but of course it's easier said than done because you will have times where you roll a bunch of crit rate, RNG, that's a pure thing. But it allows you to look out for crit rate itself less, but still it just provides crit rate, it doesn't provide crit damage unfortunately. And also is able to give a good increase to elation that also is just permanent throughout the battle, and only requirement is using elation skill. And on elation teams, you'll be doing that a lot, so you can stack this up very quickly. And as I mentioned, it lasts throughout the battle, so you can get up to a 40% increase to elation throughout the battle. So this is one of the best options you can also use. Those are the two main options you want to use. However, you can use the Anniversary Lightcone on her, which provides the wearer 12% crit damage, and using ultimate will increase the elation of all allies by 8% for 1 turn. At S5, it's 24% crit damage and 12% elation. So while it isn't terrible, it's not really anything crazy. It's providing you some crit damage for some conversion, but it's not much. That's like the main focus, is just like a crit damage stick, but also you can actually get elation for the team, so this is good for any other characters that are elation on the team, and also does of course impact Evanescia herself, so you still are getting a damage increase, which makes this Lightcone actually quite usable. Not nearly as good as the other two like her signature or the Battle Pass, but if you have no other option, this one is the one you would use. Just like any other character, if you have none of those, you can use the Mushishirumi's Adventures. 12% elation increase, and the wearer using an elation skill will make enemies take more elation damage by 6% for 2 turns. At S5, it's 20% elation and 10% elation vulnerability. The effect itself is solid, just a free increase to elation, which is going to be a good damage jump, and also elation vulnerability. The beauty of this Lightcone is that you can use it on multiple characters, since the last part of this Lightcone with the elation skill vulnerability actually does stack throughout multiple people, so you don't have to just have the first part for her. All of this is going to impact her damage, but it's still going to be worse than any of the other 3, but if you have no other option, then you would use this. For Relic Stats, her best in slot is 4-piece Ever Glorious, 2-piece providing crit damage, 4-piece providing 10% defense ignore for elation damage, and every 5 accumulated punchline allies gain will make elation damage additionally ignore 1% of the target's defense, stacking up to 10 times. Simple yet effective, 2-piece is going to be increasing crit damage, which you want to build as much as possible of, so it's going to help with her actual talent conversion to elation. 4-piece is providing one of the big ways to increase any damage in the game with defense ignore, and elation damage is a big part, almost the entire part of Evanescia's kit, so 10% defense ignore for that is going to be good, and you will accumulate more and more as the battle goes. Every 5 is going to give you a 1% additional, so you need to accumulate a total of 50 punchline, which on elation teams is not a problem at all. So realistically, it's a free 20% defense ignore from the 4-piece, so for the absolute best damage output of your Evanescia, this is the one you would use. The only other specialist set I want to recommend is Eagle. 4-piece provides a 25% advance forward when the wearer uses their ultimate. 2-piece is just worthless, you ignore that. Since Evanescia is going to be ultimate spamming, she is going to get a lot of Eagle procs. With this, you can get multiple turns within a cycle, more than you usually would. You get to act a lot more at the cost of overall actual hitting damage. So combining this with a really fast Evanescia with just a general good build is going to be fine. You can even run this with an attack percent boot spot at base speed, since it could allow you to get another turn with how much you can actually ult. If you do have a setup in mind where you want to do that, and you still do take at least 2 turns within the first MLC cycle, if you are doing base speed, if you're running something like a speed boot setup, be sure you're at least getting 3 to make it worth it. But you can just get a lot of procs out of this because of the 4-piece and how our playstyle just goes. So there's a lot of setups you can do with this. So this would be the only other 4-piece I could technically quote-unquote recommend. However, this is usually in the hands of more skilled players. She has some options you can use, like technically you can use 4-piece Champion, since attack slash physical damage isn't completely useless on Evanescia. Same thing with Wave Shredder, but Wave Shredder conditions are annoying, and Champion is still just like an overall outdated set. And for not being a character that fully goes off physical slash attack, it's just less worth it overall. So that's why the Ever Glorious set is the only one I recommend. If you do need to do 2-piece, the 2-piece I would recommend is just doing 2-piece crit damage. 2-piece Wave Strider with 2-piece Everglorious is going to be the best, so you can get 32% crit damage for an Elation conversion. Planar Ornaments have the same thing as well. You just want to run the Punk Lord set with 8% Elation increase, and reaching 40%/80% Elation for the first time in combat will give the wearer 20%/32% crit damage. So extra Elation to do more damage and also just more crit damage, so anytime you crit, you're going to do more damage. This is realistically the only actual ornament that's perfect for her, since you mainly just want to focus on crit and the actual Elation stat, which this ornament is doing both of, which makes it far and none the best. Unfortunately, again, similar to Relic Stats, there are other options, but I genuinely would not recommend doing them. Like, you could run Space Sealing Station because of the attack, but that's just not really worth it. The only one I could kind of recommend is Bad at Amusement, because it gives you up to a 48% crit damage increase. The requirement for this is going to be running Dynamic Terry with her. While he isn't a bad option for her, he's not the best, and so having you to be forced to run him, especially when in the future we might get an Elation sustained, running this set and building around it would not generally be worth it. So the only one I recommend you focus on is just Punk Lord. For the main sets on the relics, for the body, you want to run crit damage. For the feet, you can do attack or speed. A lot of Evanescia's gain of certified banger and such is going to be through allies gaining and having the certified banger end so she can convert it. But her skill and output and also just getting more turns is still more energy at the end of the day. So speed can actually work quite well. So if you're running her on a team where there's not really any external advanced sources, running speed boots can be good. However, if you are running a form of an action advance on your team, such as Sparkle or even RMC, in those cases you would want to run attack percent boots. For the orb, you can do physical damage or attack percent. Both are similar. Physical is better, but just use whatever has better substats. And for the link rope, you want energy regen. For the substats, you still want to focus on crit to have a good ratio, but do remember her actual trace tree provides crit rate, her base crit rate that everyone has with 5%, and her actual bonus trace provides 30% crit rate. Outside of battle, you would need a total of 70% crit rate, and that would be 100% in battle. If you have Yagwag's Lightcone on the team, then you would need even less. You would just run 60%. So account for any crit rate buffs, but of course that is going to change depending on your team. If you have Sparkle Lightcone on the team, if you have Yagwag's Lightcone, so on and so forth. You just want to make sure you have enough to hit 100% in battle. That's very important. Then you just focus on crit damage, get as much as you can. There's no possible limit. She is able to convert all her crit damage into elation, so there's not necessarily a limit. You just want to get as much as you possibly can. If you are running speed boots or you're doing eagle setups, then getting as much speed as possible is going to be good, so you can get a lot more turns for best energy output. But most people probably won't be doing that, so you're not going to focus on speed too much. However, if you're doing speed boots, just be sure you are getting to a breakpoint. And then attack percent, again, just focusing on that, get as much as you can, is going to be your goal. And that is the full build guide for Evanescia. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell for future videos like this, along with all the types of Star content. And I'll see you later. Peace out.